Good afternoon and welcome to today's Ideal Trading Lifestyle End-of-Day Market Review. My name is Randy McMullen, and for April 26, 2012. Before we get started, I'd just like to ensure that everybody that's in attendance can hear and can see the visuals. If you could just give me a hands up, that would be great. Just want to confirm that. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Good. And perfect. All right. So we want to thank you to this end-of-day market review, our live session for Thursday, April 26th. We're going to review the daily news for the markets today so we can see kind of what happened in the morning throughout the day and how that impacted the markets. We're also going to leverage that into a look at market outlook, which essentially is what is the sentiment of both the S&P and the TSX from a technical aspect, and kind of see how the news is playing out on the charting side of it. Next, we're going to go look at the volatility indicator, which is really the consumer benchmark for investment. This is how essentially investors are looking at the markets right now with respect to its overall volatility and emotional drive within the markets. Then we want to look at the current watch list, see if there's any picks that we want to review today. So we'll go through a handful of picks and look at previous day's picks, anything that we had identified from yesterday's watch list as potential picks for today. And then finally, we're going to discuss about preparing for tomorrow. So we're going to do a review of what needs to be done, bringing it all together. All right, so first thing this morning, we saw that futures were looking to somewhat of a mixed bag. We saw, for example, the jobless claims coming in just a little bit lower than expected. And later on in the morning, we saw a good report from the U.S. housing side showing that there are more houses that are being sold now in the U.S. than anticipated. So at the end of the day, the stocks gained in a very choppy session today, and European shares did advance but took a breather from the rally that they were in. So we saw kind of a mixed bag in Europe as well, where economic data left the shares closing very little changed on Thursday. So as a result of that, a little bit more caution in the markets, especially after several days up and yesterday's big rises that we've had as well. All right, so let's just have a look at some of the market sentiment factors here. Looking at the S&P 500 for today, you can see how it was quite important because we actually broke above this particular channel line here, and you can see it's the first time that we've done that really for this entire month of April. We've had several days where we've hit it, but we've declined. And so finding continuous support now, and this is an important line here. You can see this going back to October, this lower trend line. You can see how we're continuing to find support at this nice trend line rise that's going on. So what's important right now is, as you can see, we're now into an overcrossed rising bullish market, which is excellent from an investment perspective. So what that is telling us essentially is that there's a confirmation of momentum. The fact that we broke through this existing channel, what's going to be key now is a confirmation of support for this existing channel that we've got. So we are a neutral outlook, and we do confirm that there is momentum in the S&P going forward. All right, looking at the TSX, a little bit different in the TSX. We're into a rising bearish market, you can see here. But however, what we've got now is we've continued to find support at this existing lower trend line that's been in place since last October. And we did close beyond an existing channel line, which was resistance, and now is looking to offer us support. But as we've been indicating for the last several days now, we have some pretty strong overhead resistance. You can see that we're right up against a flat 22 EMA right now. So as a result of that, we're somewhat interested in whether or not we're actually going to break through this existing 22 EMA. And you can see that we've also got channel resistance, and we've also got a 50 EMA coming down. So we're a little bit more cautious on the TSX given some of the resistance that we've got overhead as a result of that. All right, looking at the volatility indicator, you can see that that over the last few days, what looked like a really nice breakthrough found weakness, and now is looking to to be a breakdown to below. You can see we're definitely closing below this existing trend line now, and we're looking to confirm support at this lower trend line that's been in place since way back last August, which also confirms a channel support that's been in place now since last June and July. So given that with the VIX, we've now shifted into somewhat of a declining bearish market. So what this means is that when the VIX is declining the way that it is and losing momentum, it means it's good for the markets. It's telling us that essentially we've got some room to go. So a little bit more optimism in the markets as well. The only thing is on the TSX side, we're hitting some overhead resistance, and on the S&P side, we've had a few days up now, so we are looking for a little bit of a pullback after some of the recent gains. However, we're still very optimistic on the S&P. Current watch list that we just recently checked, we aren't showing any picks on the basic watch list, and the reason for that is, and I actually went and checked on some of the picks as well that I thought would have shown up. They have, a lot of them have fallen away from their highs of the day, and as a result of the choppy session. And so when we see stocks losing momentum near the end of the day, they will fall off our watch list. It protects us from stocks that are basically been rising through the day but losing momentum near the end of the day. So that's one of the things that we did notice with the current basic watch list. So for basic customers today, there's no stocks picks available for tomorrow. And based on, as I mentioned, the number of days we've had up in a row, we're probably looking at a confirmation of support at that existing channel line that we actually went above today. So as a result of that, the advanced has stocks that they can be reviewing, and so again, looking to apply a little bit more of a pullback strategy based on what we've just discussed. Yesterday's watch list, there was a couple of picks on there. We actually identified SGY here as a potential opportunity. So let's just take a moment now and have a look at SGY. So we're just going to open up the charting tool, and we're going to go to SGY here, and just waiting for that. And there we go. So if you remember yesterday, we had looked at this stock and identified that we had some good room to the 200 EMA and possibly looking at a little bit more of a pullback. So the stock yesterday closed at 27.04, and you can see today hit a low of 26.67. So definitely clients would have been able to pick that up today, and you can see popped up quite nicely and closing at the 200 EMA, which is at 27.62, and that's where we identified as our room to move on this stock. So based on our pick yesterday, my Wealth Accelerator clients would have been able to take advantage of this pick, and as you can see, did very well on this, earning over 2% today on this particular stock if they looked at getting in at the prices that we had discussed and looking at some pullback strategies. So that's a very optimistic view and a great stock that we reviewed yesterday as well. All right, so let's just talk a little bit more about preparing for tomorrow. As we're identifying, we are seeing some optimism in the markets now, which is a good thing. Just closing above that existing channel line for the S&P was a very favorable thing that happened today. And based on just the number of days that we've had up with the S&P, anticipating a little bit of a pullback possibly. So as a result of that, any stocks that you're looking at for tomorrow, again, let's make sure that the pre-market futures is being viewed to make sure that nothing in Europe is causing a huge impact in the markets. No stat holidays to be concerned about. The only thing is we've got, for our report tomorrow, we do have the unemployment rate coming out tomorrow, so we want to take advantage of making sure we are watching for the pre-market futures to see if there's an impact as a result of that report. The VIX is well below 30, and as we noted here, is continuing to decline, telling us that there's less emotion in the markets, and so it all points to some very favorable technical analysis as well as where we see the markets headed. And again, just a little bit of a pullback tomorrow based on the several days we've had up in a row and a confirmation of support at that channel line. And that essentially covers off what we wanted to review today. Again, as usual, I will open it up. If there's any clients here that have any questions about what was discussed, just raise your hand or type in the question. We can review it at that point. For those that are listening to this via video link, if you have any questions that you'd like reviewed, even though you can't attend, please email them directly to us at idealtradinglifestyle@gmail.com, and we'll make sure that we include that in our live segment as well, so that when you watch it the following session, we'll be able to answer your question. Okay, so there's no questions coming out from any clients at this point in time. We want to wish you a great market day, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.